Alright, so it was a regular day on patrol, and I got hungry, so I decided to order food. So I called this restaurant, local restaurant, and I ordered food. And they said, okay, we'll be ready in 10 minutes. So I just went ahead and said, okay, while I wait, I'm going to go patrol the streets. So I was driving around town. I was going northbound on South Dora when I approached an intersection. It's a four-way stop. So I stopped at the stop sign and I saw this vehicle that was traveling westbound on Washington also stop at the same intersection. And I realized that he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. So he saw me and then reached out, grabbed his seatbelt and put it on. And so I was like, oh, okay, it's a violation. So he told me to go in front of him, and I was like, no, you can go. So he's like, all right. So he drives in front of me, and I initiate a traffic stop. So I turn on my emergency lights. So he comes to a complete stop in the 300 block of Washington. And so I'm thinking, okay, it's either warning or it's a ticket. It's just a regular traffic stop. So I put my car in park, and then I exit my vehicle, and then as I'm walking up to the car, I can see the guy's kicking his feet underneath him, like under the seat. And so I was like, well, that's a little strange. And so I was like, okay. So I walk up to him. I told him why I stopped him, and he said, yeah, I saw you. And I was like, and I saw that he was still kicking his feet. So I asked him, what are you kicking down there? And he's just like, nothing. And I was like, okay. I was like, do you have any weapons in the car? And he stops and looks at me and says, so he looks down, and I was like, oh no. So I got on the radio, I asked for backup because I didn't know what it was, and I was like, please be honest with me, I don't want to get hurt and I don't want you to get hurt. I was like, so just tell me what you have. So he's like, okay, I have a Beretta, which is this one right here. And so I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, don't reach for anything, and there was a passenger. Also, I realized that the rear windows were tinted, so I was like, roll them down. I was like, please roll them down so I can see if there's anybody back there. He's like, okay. So he rolls it down, and I saw a case, like a rifle case in the back seat. And so I was like, oh no. I was like, okay, there's something going on here. And so so my backup arrived, and then we took the driver out of the car, and then we took the passenger out of the car. So we recovered this Beretta. This was the one that was under the seat, and then that was the rifle that was in the rifle case in the back seat. Turned out he was a convicted felon, so he had been arrested for felonies and convicted of them in the past. So we took him into custody, and that was it. Some things that stood out to me as I was talking to the driver was that his story didn't make sense to me. He told me he was from Vallejo, California, and the passenger was from there as well. And I guess they were up here for some ranch that they were going to help a friend out. He didn't know what he was doing, how much he was going to get paid to help out this friend. All he knew was that he had to get there, and he would call somebody once he got to Ukiah. He had no other information, and he had no other, his story was really short, his answers were really short, so there were red flags to me as far as why he was really here.